Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a rather intriguing situation involving some well-known personalities. Mini MAGA, Sid Sloth, and of course, Humpty Dumpty. Now, I wasn't initially planning to cover this topic, but something caught my attention that I just couldn't ignore. So, let's unpack this segment together and explore what's really going on. You won't believe the twists and turns that led to this fascinating discussion. It's not just about opinions, it's about how these individuals shape the narrative around current events. So stick around as we break it down piece by piece and see what insights we can uncover. Trust me, you'll want to hear this.
We'll talk about it.
New signage is being installed at Washington's Performing Arts Center after the Kennedy Center board voted this week to change the name of the renowned facility to the Trump Kennedy Center. The cultural complex now joins a growing list of federal buildings, programs, and initiatives that President Trump has put his name on.
Well, I was honored by it. The board is a very distinguished board, most distinguished people in the country. And I was surprised by it. They voted on it, and there's a lot of board members, and they voted unanimously.
JFK's niece, Maria Shriver, said, quote, "This is not dignified. This is not funny. This is way beneath the stature of the job. It's downright weird. It's obsessive in a weird way. Just when you think someone can't stoop any lower, down they go." All right, let's discuss. Who would like to begin this? I'm going to start with you, Paul. What do you make of putting your name on so many different things that are owned by the people?
Yeah, I tried with spray paint and I got arrested. So I know we have two people here who lean right, and I want you to understand something. I'm the guy in the middle, right? This is not about me spending an hour bashing this guy. I would say this about anybody. This is incredibly disrespectful to JFK. He was the commander-in-chief. He lost his life serving our country. This would be no different than if we decided to start changing names on the Vietnam Memorial. People would be up in arms. So in that respect, it's just untenable. Not because he's Trump, not because he's a Republican.
Can I?
Also, just one more thing. Also, it's laughable the way he described it. It's mob boss-like. It's like, I didn't say I had to put my name on it. I'd say it just would be unfortunate if you didn't.
Yeah, right.
If an accident were to befall you, perhaps, if there were not. So it's sort of like, and that's insulting to the American public. And he needs to stop doing that. They all do, all the politicians. Just be straight. Yeah, I strong-armed the board into this. Next.
You know, to be honest, I didn't spend too much time looking at this because I didn't think it was that big of a deal given the grand scheme of things that happened this week. But I personally don't care that much, but I do find it funny, Paul, that you care and that the Kennedys care, because no one in your party cared in 2020 when you guys were changing names of hospitals, parks, schools, streets, everything in the name of George Floyd. In fact,
The only problem with that is I'm not a Democrat.
Wikipedia has an entire page called List of Name Changes Due to the George Floyd Protests. It is the longest Wikipedia page I've ever seen. So people who are up in arms about name changes now were mostly silent. The second point I'd make, I think it's really disingenuous for the Kennedys and for anyone to sit here and pretend like they care so much about the Kennedy Center, because I don't know how many of you guys have been to the Kennedy Center prior to Donald Trump taking office. I was there in 2023. I was in a VIP box. That should be pretty nice. The seats were stained. I literally sat down. I was like, is this wet? Is this fresh? The floors were dirty. This is a place that was decrepit. And all of this on top of people getting...
Shut up, you're dirty.
Now, let's unpack the frustration many feel about the current state of leadership. It's not just about the individual, it's about what this behavior represents for our nation as a whole. When we see such ridiculous antics, it raises serious questions about the seriousness of our political discourse. Are these the leaders we want representing us? It seems like a constant cycle of ego-driven theatrics, making it easy to forget the real issues that need attention. Many are left wondering, when will we get leadership focused on the everyday struggles of citizens instead of this ongoing spectacle? It's a troubling reflection on the state of politics today. And let's be clear, comparing individuals like President Kennedy, who faced profound tragedy, to current figures with legal troubles, that's disrespectful to history and to those who lost their lives advocating for justice. George Floyd's name symbolizes a movement towards understanding and change, while others have built their legacies on controversy. It's as if some feel that flashy behavior can substitute for real governance. So as we navigate these discussions, let's remember the importance of accountability and transparency in leadership. We deserve representatives who prioritize the needs of the people, not just their own image.
Exorbitant salaries. So people who were running the Kennedy Center or who claimed to love and care about the Kennedy Center said nothing when it was falling into disrepair. And President Trump comes in, they are renovating. They cut salaries that were needlessly high. They are bringing people to come and see the arts for once. It was not that lively of an institution under the Biden administration. So don't pretend like you care about the Kennedy Center now when you were quiet when it was falling into disrepair.
Well, first thing, you refer to 2020 in the name of George Floyd. I think it wasn't just in the name of George Floyd.
Well, that's what
I think
the riots
that
were about.
I think that this country had a racial reckoning, and they understood. Please let me finish, because I let you finish. They had a racial reckoning, and they understood that this country had done some things that were very unfair, especially to marginalized, especially to black people. And they were giving tributes and statues to people who were slave owners, who were considered heroes at one point,
Like
depending
Jefferson
on how you look.
Washington.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you what else he did. I can tell you what else Thomas Jefferson did. Right?
Being a slave owner was not the unique thing
I'm still
about Thomas
talking.
Jefferson.
And the second thing is that once they realized that these people, according to history, were not really the heroes that they had been portrayed as.
They absolutely are the heroes.
They realized that they did awful things to people who did not deserve it, who could not speak for themselves.
You're speaking freely because of people like Jefferson.
I'm speaking freely because I'm a free black woman and I'm allowed to speak freely.
With the First Amendment.
And
Thank
the
you,
reality
Jefferson Washington.
is that they may have overcorrected, but right now they're overcorrecting in another way. The fact that Trump is putting his name on you want to normalize it like it's normal tells me that you're the problem and not the solution. This man's mental acuity is off. He clearly is unstable and no one's talking about it. You have a walk of fame and you're talking about other presidents in a derogatory way. This is the highest office in the land. And I'm just going to go back to the basis. What he's done is disrespected it. And people such as yourself want to normalize that behavior. And what Maria Shriver was suggesting was like, this isn't funny anymore. Let's take a look at what's happening. You can't normalize this behavior. This is one of many things that this president has done that should not be normalized. And if we keep continuing to look away, we will find ourselves in a state of disrepair that we cannot come back from.
Hold on, wait. I have to respond to this.
Hold on. We'll come back to you.
Joe got to speak so much before.
I want Joe to be able to step in.
I'll be quick.
There is a question about what other president has done so much of this, putting their name while in office on a myriad.
Look, you could have walked anywhere in New York 10 years ago and knew that Trump likes to put his name on things. But I'm just pointing out, like you're really mad about this, and I get that.
I'm not mad. I just don't want it to be dismissed.
America is so sick of Democrats.
I am not
going
mad, and I'm not a
apeshit
Democrat. So if you're going to have this thing,
names
say
and
it correct.
statues
It's
and
not
this,
about
we
names
got
or
to take down
statues.
Columbus, we got to take down Jefferson,
That's
we
not
got to
what I'm
remove
saying.
this. Whose name is on the fort? I think Americans are just getting sick of the left just being against everything. If Joe Biden, you know, if he maybe passed away in office and they've renamed the Kennedy Center in honor of Joe Biden, you wouldn't have heard boo out of the people. You wouldn't have heard boo out of the Kennedys. This is an episode of two things. It's an episode of people angry over anything Trump does, and then people angry because we're naming something after someone who other people find imperfect.
Can I just address something? There's a nuance to this, okay? And what we're doing here is sort of, we're not keeping our eye on the ball. This isn't about what other people did to other buildings. And this isn't about whether seats are sticky or not, okay? I find that to be, okay. And again, this is coming from a guy who's not in a party, okay? What this is about is a guy who lost his life for his country. Leave it alone. Put it on another building. Stop giving me a shiny object to look out over here when you're doing this over here with your hand. And that's what you're doing. You start going, the liberals are so upset about putting their neck. We're not talking about that.
At all.
Let's really just stay on it. And let's not put everybody, I don't do that to you as a Republican. I don't say all you Republicans are blank. So have some respect for those people on the left. Hang on one second, I'll let you finish. But all I'm saying is that that's the issue. It's not just any president. It's a guy who got assassinated. And that's what makes it disrespectful.
And let me just add
Humpty Dumpty doesn't
about names. When statues like Robert E. Lee were being taken down, there was a huge uproar from folks in Charlottesville. And they were pissed about these statues being taken down. So don't say that one side cares about names and the other side doesn't.
Now
care
about names, but that's the whole point. What you just said was eloquent.
Can I respond really quickly? Paul, first
No.
to your point about Kennedy, and I think Kennedy should be obviously respected. He did lose his life serving this country. But I did not hear, and I'm not blaming you, but from the Democrat side of the aisle, I did not hear the same ferocious defense when Jefferson and Washington were being torn down. Trump is not removing Kennedy off the building. And to my earlier point, you can think sticky seats aren't a big deal. But if something is going to honor Kennedy, it should exude excellence. And it was not for quite a long time.
That's a valid
wait,
point.
hold on one second.
Yep.
And then, Carrie, to your earlier
Moving on from that, let's take a closer look at some of the comments circulating in the realm of political discourse. It's troubling to hear sentiments that imply one group should be grateful for anything at all. This notion that just because someone's ancestors faced slavery, they owe gratitude for the bare minimum is fundamentally flawed. No one should have to express thanks for their freedom. Instead, we should be condemning the systems that allowed such injustices to occur in the first place. It's a startling perspective that many still cling to, and it's about time we challenge it. Now, let's pivot to the buzz surrounding Trump's recent actions. Critics highlight the superficial changes, like cleaning a building or renaming a structure, suggesting these are merely distractions from the more pressing issues at hand. When you think about it, it raises an interesting question. Are these renovations for the public good, or are they just a way to boost his image? It feels like a show rather than genuine leadership. And let's be real. Americans are hungry for real solutions, like healthcare reforms or economic support, not these superficial gestures. And honestly, when there are larger scandals happening, like dealings around Epstein, or significant legal matters at play, the focus on trivial actions can feel like a deliberate diversion. People deserve accountability, not flashy headlines meant to deflect from the real problems. It's like a magician distracting the audience while the real trick happens behind the curtain. As for the historical comparisons, the nuance between figures like Thomas Jefferson and John F. Kennedy deserves careful consideration. They operated in vastly different contexts, and their legacies should be approached with that understanding. Yes, one faced attempts on his life due to his political stance, while the other's reputation is marred by significant historical controversies. Such comparisons shouldn't be made lightly. They can mislead rather than enlighten. Before we wrap up, I want to address how some Republicans seem to prioritize antics over substantial governance. Renaming buildings may grab headlines, but it doesn't address the issues everyday Americans are facing. If they continue down this path, it might become apparent to voters that they are more interested in theatrics than actual change. So with all that said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this entire situation. Are these actions just distractions, or is there something more going on? Make sure to leave your opinions in the comments below. I want to know what you think. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and allows us to continue these important conversations. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video.